I'm saying it's known in that.
Not yet. I sent it today. I'm pretty sure they're gonna post it today.
Good Lord.
I'm just like, hey.
Yeah, but why don't we just like, have us women
I'm
come
saying,
employees?
just give them time. I feel like the conversation I'm having is you giving me this to make this smaller, to fit in this frame. I'm telling you I can't do it. So here's the best thing I can do. By keeping everything in the frame, just making the video smaller.
That's right.
I can do that with any size.
That's right.
But she didn't want the blurry background, which it looked really clean versus what
I'm
she
sure
gave
it
me.
did.
Because you got the mirror like talking to somebody and half the mirrors right here.
Oh, God. Please don't tell me I can't hear that.
It will. She wanted it because she sent it to me already edited. She just wanted me to put captions on, subtitles on it. So it's gonna make it. I don't know if it'll make it. So basically, it's already approved. They just wanted the caption on. Yep.
Well, the husband is stopping us from getting everything because what we have is stuff. And he's usurping your editing skills.
To facilitate his opinion or whatever. Something I'd say. Based on where she came from, she came from nothing. So, I don't know behind that.
Okay, because I mean, it's like it accepts me.
Yeah.
How you doing? Hanging in there, man. Hoping that it won't rain on our heads right now. I'm just like, really? So I wasn't ready for the chill nor the rain today. So we need to come on and come on. Rain. We got two of them over our heads.
I seen a video Keith did. His first line of the story was the city's mascot is a lion, not a falcon.
But it kind of is.
Cover up those mics. Y'all got it tight in here. Thank you all for being here this morning. I've asked my team to provide you with an update on the partial collapse of the crane on the 1000 block of West Peachtree Street yesterday. I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Faroki of this district, who is here, who's a strong supporter of our public safety personnel and making sure the community is safe. We're also joined by Chief Operating Officer Lisa Gordon, our Deputy Chief Operating Officer LaShondra Burke, as well as Asher Morris, representing our Office of Emergency Preparedness, and of course, we have Chief Shearbaum and Chief Smith that are here, as well as this fire station, and our DOT Commissioner, Cavanis. We're here at Atlanta Fire Rescue Department Station 15. The men and women at this station and their colleagues of the Atlanta Police Department were the first to respond to the scene yesterday, rendering medical aid and calling in additional resources from across the city. I'll ask Fire Chief Smith and Police Chief Shearbaum to provide an update on our first responders' work in this matter in just a moment. I've also asked ATL DOT Commissioner Solomon Cavanis to provide an update on street closures while this situation is addressed over the coming hours and indeed the coming days. I'd also like to acknowledge our Parks and Recreation Department, which worked with the Red Cross to set up an emergency shelter at one of our recreation centers to those who had been evacuated after our response in this matter. We are coordinating with a great number of partners throughout the region, and that includes our colleagues at the state of Georgia and Grady Hospital, who treated those who were injured yesterday. This is a group project in action, and I'm so thankful to the many people who are engaged in the response. I want to acknowledge that the residents of this neighborhood have been through a lot recently. This incident took place just a block away from the horrific shooting at the medical office earlier this month. So I want to thank you to all those who live and work here in Midtown for your patience. There will be disruptions over the next couple of days, and I appreciate your cooperation and ensure safety for all. Now, I'll turn it over to Chief Smith for remarks. Chief Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. On yesterday, Atlanta Fire Rescue responded to 1020 West P Street. The initial call out for Atlanta Fire Rescue was a working fire in place. Upon arrival, we discovered that there was an evacuation going on and that there had been a failure, mechanical failure of the crane, which resulted in a partial collapse in the upper floors of the structure. Thankfully, the four members that were working on the scene were transported to the hospital with no life-threatening injuries. Our technical crews remain on the scene in a defensive posture, assisting the construction crews and the engineers with determining the best way to neutralize the crane. We will be in this posture until we neutralize that crane. I would like to thank our partners in public safety, APD, as well as our mayor and the mayor's staff for supporting us, as well as Grady. And we look forward to getting back to normal service. And I will turn it over now to our police chief, Darren Shipper.
Thank you, Chief Smith. Good morning, everyone. Always want to thank you for doing your role and giving good messages out to the citizens of this city. As the fire chief stated yesterday, we responded in support of Atlanta Fire Rescue. I want to acknowledge the men and women that work in our 911 center who began receiving a variety of 911 calls. We were able to craft a picture of what was occurring to ensure a proper response to the fire in the police department. Our role in this particular situation is to create a safe environment for Atlanta Fire Rescue and the other city agencies to work. So you will notice a number of street closures are in place, and that is being purposefully done to take into account that this is an elevated situation that we find ourselves in mitigating as a city. Those closures will remain in place as long as necessary to ensure that vehicles are routed away at the proper location and that citizens that may be walking in the neighborhood also take alternative routes as they move throughout the area. There will be other ways you can get around. We encourage the use of MARTA during the time as you come to the Midtown area, and just to be mindful of the social media of the fire department as well as the police department and the Mayor's Office of Emergency Management as we put out accurate information of where to the area on foot and in motor vehicle. And so we do appreciate the patience of the neighborhood as the mayor has already referenced. And this time I'm going to turn it over to our Commissioner of Transportation, Commissioner Kappas.
Thank you, Chief. Solomon Cavanis, ATL DOT, Commissioner, Transportation. We've been in touch with Georgia DOT and our partners within the area to make sure that the area is secured. We are currently monitoring traffic conditions and operations throughout the Midtown region. We are making sure that the closure at 10th Street between 12th and 10th on West Peachtree and Spring Street is cordoned off. We're routing traffic around that area with barricades in support of APD. We're encouraging all to use MARTA during this period. We're also asking folks to use their GPS and other social media channels to keep up to date with traffic conditions while this area is closed. If at all possible, avoid this area and we'll monitor traffic conditions and make sure we coordinate with GDOT to ensure the traffic signals and surface streets are in order. So thank you for the opportunity for GDOT to brief this group, and I'll turn it back over to Mayor Dickens.
Yeah, so while we are very well prepared to continue to make sure that you're aware of what we have in place to provide for safety and road closures, utilizing the Atlanta Department of Transportation, our police department, and our fire rescue department, we are definitely want to make sure that residents in the area and businesses stay safe. And we thank the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department and APD for your training to be able to neutralize this situation, get everybody out safely. We're also very fortunate that only 4 individuals had non-life-threatening injuries, and so everyone was able to get evacuated out, and those 4 individuals did not sustain life-threatening injuries. This could have been a whole lot worse, and as we monitor it, making sure that the crane operators in that company are able to disassemble that crane and neutralize it so that further damage won't be done to people or to property. So now I thank you for your time, and I stand here ready to answer your questions. You said when can people? Chief, you want to respond to that when you think they can go back home?
Yes, so we've developed a defensive posture, and we have asked them to stay away from the homes. Once we come up with a neutralization solution for the crane, then we will deem it safe, and we will give them the opportunity to return home. We are working diligently with the Red Cross to provide additional housing for those members that have been displaced.
How many people have been displaced?
Approximately 1,000 homes have been displaced. We don't know how many people actually stay in each apartment.
Who oversees the safety measures in terms of overseeing the safety of these cranes?
That would reside back with state OSHA.
I'm sorry.
OSHA for the state of Georgia would oversee the operation of the cranes.
And what is the city's role in terms of the safety and preventing incidents like this?
So the safety, or you want to answer it? So, the safety overall on the construction scenes is overseen by our Bureau of Buildings. However, when we get in situations such as this, it will be escalated to the state of Georgia. One of the support members of the crane has actually 4 support members that hold it on the structure. One of those support members has been damaged, and so we have another crane that is actually in place, and they're working on a plan now to resecure it and to disassemble that crane.
Can you just briefly recap what caused the collapse?
One of the counterweights on the crane came apart, or it came dislodged, and so what it did when it fell, it caused additional damage to the structure as well as the crane itself.
What's the specific crane company?
I do not have the name of the crane company at this time.
How does that happen?
We'll still try to figure it out. It's under investigation.
Time for one more. Mayor, I have a question. I mean, we're seeing a lot of development really everywhere you look, and Atlanta is growing. We've known it's growing. It's a great thing that it's growing, but with that comes a lot of rains.
Yeah.
How cognizant are you of all the development, especially here in Midtown, and does this need you in any way to maybe put more parameters in place that as we develop, as we grow, that there are checks and balances?
Yeah, so Atlanta has been under construction for quite a while. There's a lot of cranes in the city. There's a lot of new development. We can see it in our city planning department, the amount of permits that are going up, and they're getting out of our hoppers faster. So we've improved our processes to make sure that we are really standing ready to help development occur. But at the same time, we're investing in our fire rescue department from our Moving Atlanta Forward infrastructure bond to be able to get more ladder trucks, to be able to get improvements to 4 of our stations, and to make sure that firefighters, police officers have the equipment they need in the event that they have to respond in an emergency like they did yesterday. Our buildings department is doing a phenomenal job at making sure they do inspections of the buildings as well as the building equipment, and we will do a thorough investigation in this scenario with the state of Georgia, with OSHA, to be able to see what happened in this specific incident, so that 1, it never happens again, and 2, we can figure out fault and accountability. Thank you all.